On the morning of February 28, 2026, the tectonic plates of global power didn't just shift, they fractured. In a world already exhausted by proxy wars and economic instability, the unthinkable happened. Within a 90-minute window, the leadership of the Islamic Republic of Iran was effectively erased from the map. This wasn't a slow escalation, it was a lightning bolt from the blue, coordinated with terrifying precision by the United States and Israel. The confirmed death of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei in a targeted strike on his Tehran compound has sent shockwaves through every capital from Washington to Beijing. But as the smoke clears over the ruins of the Beit Rock bar, a much darker reality is setting in. This isn't just the end of a regime, it is the beginning of the most dangerous military confrontation the Middle East has seen in a century. Today, on Power Politics, we are peeling back the layers of Operation Lion's Roar. We are looking at the secret intelligence that led to this moment, the devastating retaliatory strikes hitting the Gulf, and the terrifying possibility that we are watching the opening credits of World War III. Let's break down exactly how the impossible strike occurred. For decades, the Supreme Leader's compound was considered one of the most protected patches of Earth in the world, ringed by Russian-made S-400 systems and localized jamming technology. Yet at 08:15 a.m. Tehran time, reports indicate that a swarm of ghost drones, next-generation stealth UAVs, saturated the radar net, followed immediately by F-35I Adir jets from the Israeli Air Force and B-21 radar stealth bombers from the United States. The intelligence was surgical. They didn't just hit a building, they hit a bunker. Initial reports suggest that Khamenei was in a high-level briefing with the top tier of the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. In a single moment, the Supreme Leader, his chosen successor Mujtaba Khamenei, and over 40 high-ranking generals were neutralized. This was a decapitation in the truest military sense. By taking out the entire command and control structure simultaneously, the US and Israel bet on a total paralysis of the Iranian state. But while the head was gone, the body, the vast arsenal of the IRGC, began to twitch with a violent, reflexive rage. Why did President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu choose February 28th? Analysts suggest it was the window of 2026. With the Geneva nuclear talks officially collapsing just 48 hours prior, and Mossad capturing internal memos suggesting Iran was only weeks away from a deliverable warhead, the red line was finally crossed. This wasn't just a strike, it was a preemptive execution of a regime that the West decided it could no longer live with. If the goal was a quiet regime change, that hope vanished within 3 hours. As the news of Khamenei's death filtered through the IRGC ranks, the axis of resistance went into a state of total war. This is where the story gets terrifying. By midday, thousands of ballistic missiles were launched from underground silos, known as missile cities, across the Iranian plateau. Their targets? Not just military, but economic. We have seen unprecedented footage of the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar and the Al Salam base in Kuwait under heavy bombardment. The sheer volume of incoming projectiles overwhelmed even the most advanced Patriot and THAAD missile defense batteries. In Dubai, the skyline, usually a symbol of global luxury, was silhouetted by the orange glow of interceptors and impacts near the Burj Khalifa. This is the realization of the regional firestorm theory. Iran's Transitional Council, now led by a desperate and fragmented group of hardliners, is operating on a Samson option. If the Islamic Republic falls, it will take the global economy down with it. In Israel, the Iron Dome and David Sling have been pushed to their absolute breaking point. Hezbollah, acting on standing orders for a post-Khamenei world, has unleashed its entire arsenal of 150,000 rockets from southern Lebanon. We are seeing a multi-front war that stretches from the borders of Israel to the shores of the Arabian Sea. The question for power politics is no longer will there be a war, but how many nations will be dragged into it before the week is out. Now let's talk about the weapon that affects every single person watching this video, regardless of where you live, the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has officially declared the strait a zone of death. In the last 24 hours, IRGC naval fast boats have been seen deploying smart mines throughout the shipping lanes. Every major oil tanker has either dropped anchor or turned back. The result? A vertical spike in energy prices. As of this recording, Brent crude is sitting at $210 a barrel. In the United States and Europe, gas prices are projected to double overnight. This is the global chokehold. The Iranian strategy is simple: cause so much economic pain in the West that the American public demands a ceasefire. However, the Trump administration has doubled down, moving 3 carrier strike groups into the region and authorizing Operation Lion's Roar, a plan to systematically dismantle Iran's entire oil infrastructure.
If the refineries at Abadan and Karg Island are leveled, Iran loses its lifeblood, but the world loses its energy security. Think about the ripple effect. Supply chains that were already fragile are snapping. Insurance for shipping has vanished. We are looking at a potential global depression triggered by a single morning of airstrikes in Tehran. This is why it's called power politics, because the decisions made in a bunker in DC or a war room in Tel Aviv are currently deciding whether or not you can afford to drive to work next month. Internal reports from Iran are chaotic. With the Supreme Leader dead, the theological glue that held the country together since 1979 has dissolved. We are seeing two Irans emerge. In the south and the rural heartlands, IRGC loyalists are ticking in, swearing a blood oath of vengeance. But in the streets of Tehran, Tabriz, and Mashhad, we are seeing something else, the revolution of 2026. Crowds are reportedly tearing down portraits of Khamenei, even as security forces fire into the masses. The Transition Council, headed by President Pezeshkian, is struggling to maintain a facade of control. Rumors are swirling that the Iranian regular army, the Artesh, is refusing to fire on protesters, leading to direct clashes between the army and the IRGC. This is a civil war within a regional war. If the US and Israel continue their strikes, they risk destroying the very infrastructure a new democratic Iran would need to survive. It is a gamble of historic proportions. Do you push for total destruction, or do you leave enough for a new government to rise from the ashes?